Well, I've just read a book recently called Beach Money. It's a phenomenal, phenomenal book. On the very front cover of the book, it says, creating your dream life through network marketing. Okay? Every bloody page is amazing. I'll tell you a couple of page numbers to whet your appetite when you can try and get a quick look at it. Read page 36 and 37, straight through, 36 and 37. Then you'll want to read the rest of the book. Read pages 122 and 123. You'll want the book. And I'm not flogging books. Get it from Amazon, get it from Knowledge is King, get it from anywhere you like, but get the book. If you have to borrow it from your upline, if money's a bit tight, borrow the book from your upline. It's a fantastic, fantastic book called Beach Money. Okay? Now, one of the things he mentions in Beach Money, we're all familiar with the 45-year plan, where you start work at about 18, 19, 20. You work, maybe you start on 10 grand a year, you work your way up, you might be on about 20 grand a year, 30 grand a year, but by the time, if you're lucky enough to hold down a job until you're 65, you retire at 65 on a fraction of what you've been on, if you're lucky. But all the way through that 30-year career, you've had ups and downs and probably got made redundant 2 or 3 times or whatever, and he calls this little thing this yardstick solution. And I've got it as a slide here, but I went to B&Q, and I recommend you do the same. Other hardware shops are available, but I made myself one because I thought visually it was such a good thing. What he's saying is if you take a yardstick, which is obviously 3 feet, right, 36 inches, and you said if an inch represents 2 years of your life, by about the 9-10 inch section, you'd be about sort of 18-year-old. So you're about 18 here, 18, 19, 20. You start your working life. So I've put a bit of electrician's tape on here, yellow. Yellow is the start of your working life. And at 65, 32.5 inches, that's the end of your working life. Now, most people go through all kinds of ups and downs in that working life and still retire, usually potless and broke, on a meagre pension. And yet, if you dedicate yourself to network marketing, dedicate yourself to something like this magical thing called Clean Easy for 2 to 4 years, that's all he's saying, 2 to 4 inches on this little scale. Well, we've always said, just work this business for 2 to 5 years and you can change your life. Right. In 2 to 5 years, you could achieve more by dedicating this to your business, yourself to this business, than you can in the whole of your working life in the real world. To me, it's just logical. So, go to B&Q, or any other hardware shop you like, it was £5. It's a steel ruler, £5 from B&Q with a bit of electrician's tape on. Hey, it works for me. Leave it lying around your house, use it at meetings, use it to illustrate the illustration in the book. But get the book and you can see it. We've just reproduced it up there on the slide. But another thing he says in his book, some mega points to consider. I've gone over my 20 minutes. We're only by 4 seconds, so we're okay. I'll pull it off in 21, just watch. He says, some of the things in the book, points to consider. You must have a plan and stick to it for 18 to 24 months. Isn't that something we try and teach people and we have all these years? You can build a serious income on a part-time schedule. He calls it like a lunchtime schedule. You can build a serious income, and most of us do. I'd built up to the bronze executive level part-time. I still had a day job. And he says, usually your big income growth will come from just 1 or 2 good contacts. Isn't that the case? Jackie's just mentioned their biggest pieces of their business, 2 legs of the biggest pieces of their business are their son Craig and their friend Mike and Jean. If you take Lynn McDonald's business, one good contact, Gavin Scott, is the bulk of her business. If you take Gavin's business, 2 good contacts, Alan Moffat in one leg, Bob Webb in the other. 2 good contacts. So you're not looking for an army of people. 2 good contacts. Jill Nicholson came across Chris Mason Paul, Glyn Hobden, Chris Mason Paul. 1 or 2 good contacts can go on to build you a monster business, and he makes that in point 3 there. Usually the biggest part of your income growth will be just down to 1 or 2 people. You're not looking for an army of people, 1 or 2 good people, okay? But to find the 1 or 2, you might have to sponsor and teach and bring to the meetings 20 or 30. Are you prepared to do that? Well, we were. We were, because it's a fantastic business to offer people. And then it goes on also to say 60%, 60 to 90% of most people you show the business to might not be interested. That's okay. Get used to it. As long as you know the numbers, not everyone's going to be interested in what you're offering them. And another thing he says on point 6 is technology will not replace the fundamentals of building a successful business. So true. Yes, it's an add-on. Yes, it's great. Yes, there's people doing all kinds of good things with it. But still, it'll not replace all of the things that we build the business with. And then, regardless of how financially tough your circumstances might have been, anyone can turn their lives around in just a few years. Okay? So, quickly moving on in my last 10 seconds. 3 simple little points he makes here. Because he says, keep it simple, keep it simple. Get a few distributors, get a few customers, and teach those to do the same. Simple. Page 51. I'm going to read it out to you right from the very book because I think it's amazing. He says, remember, duplication and leverage are keys to a huge income and lifestyle. Anything hard to figure out or implement will slow down or stop your duplication. Keep it simple. It's critical. I like to liken it as the 8-year-old test. If an 8-year-old can't do it or explain it, don't do it. He said, well, we've been saying this for bloody years. Just keep it simple, keep it simple. It's not this complicated. And I read that and I thought, you know what, that's exactly right. If an 8-year-old can't understand it or explain it, don't do it. Keep it simple, okay? Now, when I joined this business, I was in debt up to here. Life was a mess. I was in a real struggle. I needed to make at least another £500 a month just to get by.